Hey everybody out there in the land of YouTube. This is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. It's Sunday evening. It's about 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. After the ravages of Hurricane Lee, for which we got a lot of wind, but it wasn't horrible. So thank you so much for sending good vibes our way, because it definitely worked. Took a little spin around and remember this beautiful spot, and it couldn't be more perfect today. There's a plane flying overhead, the sky is blue with some wispy clouds, and it's really just perfect. So I thought I'd take a few minutes. Earlier today we had Church of Spirituality, really important message. If you're not watching, you're missing out on some really uplifting thoughts and inspirations, and do check it out. I have my cards. This spot that I'm in is, there's a little bit of a breakwater. It's a more northern point of Cape Ann. Kind of a little nook that not many people know about. So the locals know where to go. You can see pretty far from here. I think you can maybe see the coast of New Hampshire from here. Anyway, I'm just looking for my cards. So on the home front in America, we're in a challenging place. We definitely are in a challenging place. And I just want everyone to know to keep visualizing the evil fading off into the distance, riding off into the distance, and never to return. Seems like I'm attracting some attention, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a few questions. And the first question I'm going to ask, it's been on my mind because I noticed a kind of a shift in the way that the media is treating the right-wing extremists all of a sudden. To me, it's all of a sudden. To me, it seems like a really discernible shift, but if you're not paying close attention, you'd kind of miss it. So what I want to look at is, and then I became aware that there are certain networks that were wined and dined to the tune of, very expensive steaks and wines, and speaking of the whiners. Do you remember that from SNL? The Weiner family? The whiners. That's what we should call Donald Trump, the whiner. So anyway, the major media networks, lamestream news we'll call it, was actually taking a really sharp turn towards Donald Trump. And it's the height of pathos, because I was watching Kristen Welker. I can't watch that interview. I cannot stomach Trump, because as he gets more and more evil, if you can even imagine that, as he gets more and more evil, I almost feel the energy coming out of his pores, that it's just kind of like greasy, icky tar slime. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I mean that. Because if you read energy, you really can. We all read energy to some degree, but if you really consciously read energy, he's got like really something gross coming off of him energetically. So, and I've noticed, because it's not just me, because I've noticed other people that don't call themselves psychics, that haven't done this kind of work, are saying the same thing, that they cannot bear to listen to him or to look at him. So it is getting to that point, but as we are kind of following that natural instinctive feeling that this is bad, this is gross, this is evil, this is slime, why would you even, like, I'm watching Kristen Welker, just that little bit that I could handle of her interviewing Trump, and he's spewing all this BS besides the evil, gross vibe, and she's acting all like, let me take my glasses off. She's acting like all like she's in awe of him, and I'm going, how can you even sit there in that energy? That's insane. Talk about sellout. So I'm gonna actually ask the pendulum if they're under some kind of a spell. Are they under some kind of a psychological spell? Is it some kind of a psychological spell? No. Because my other question is it simply insatiable greed on the part of the mainstream media? Is it simply plain and simple insatiable greed? Yes. It's the ambitious people. It's the ambitious people that are like, no matter what, I want success, I want to be at the top, I want to be the next Barbara Walters or the next, I'm going back to like the 70s, the next Walter Cronkite, they want to be the next, they want to be top of their game. But even, the mainstream media sources that we grew up with, like, for instance, Time Magazine, some of you might remember last year or the year before when Time put Elon Musk on the cover, I went into a tailspin. I was like fit to be tied. I couldn't believe that Time had put Elon Musk on the cover. And I really did complain about it. I complained about it on my videos, and that was long before he bought Twitter and interfered in the war in Ukraine and put the Ukrainians at a disadvantage, not once but twice thus far that we know about. So we have to understand, and I really need to talk to you all about this, because we have to pay attention. There's been no other time in history that we've had to pay such close attention in order to call them out on it and at least not listen and point people to reliable sources of actual factual news, because believe it or not, there's such a thing as facts. And the mainstream news is not reporting the facts. They're distorting. They're not reporting, they're distorting. And it's because they're being, they're being influenced monetarily, especially by fascism. And they're being made to feel, and these are my psychic impressions, like it's no big deal, it's no problem. So the pendulum is saying it's pure greed. It's pure ambition and greed. And I say, from a spiritual perspective, if you need to sell your soul for success, you have a big, giant ass hole in your soul. So I'm going to pick 3 cards about the mainstream media. I'm a little bummed that I have this really quiet spot and this couple decided to have their romantic time next to me. They're having a deep discussion. It's okay. I think that just me being here kind of draws people over. It's just my sense. It's a psychic thing. So 3 cards about the mainstream media. It's fine. They're way over there. I don't think I'll be seeing any proposals today, but you never know. It's happened before over on different rocks. 3 cards about the mainstream media. Oh yeah, definitely. See, this is the Page of Cups. This is they're making an offering. The right-wing extremists are making them offerings, and they're making them offerings of huge gifts. Think Supreme Court. Huge gifts, huge monetary gifts, huge fringe gifts like fancy hotels. If you ever watch any of those programs about like the most fancy cruise ships, and you get to see inside the lives of the billionaires and the types of amenities, and they have everything. And if you are really all about materialism and status and like being somebody because you have a huge hole in your soul, I know none of you do, because I don't think they all sit around and watch these channels, but you'll just be like salivating over that kind of thing. So that's how they're being swayed. The mainstream media is being swayed monetarily, being kind of hypnotized into believing that they will be the cat's meow, you know, all those sayings. It's a balancing act for them, though, because I see them being fact-checked. And you know who I see them being fact-checked by? All these democracy groups that have popped up, all these pro-democracy channels that have popped up. I actually don't think it's going to be as easy now for the media to fool us as it had been in the past. Because in the past, we didn't think that mainstream media would be all lies, or this large percentage of lies, misleading statements, misleading slants on things that they talk about. For instance, the New York Times running a story about Biden refusing to meet with Ron DeSantis when he went down there after the last hurricane, Adelia, and that's not at all what happened. Joe Biden is the first one to get on the phone and to call the governors when states have state emergencies. Or if he doesn't do that, he responds really quickly. I know the governor of Maine just called him on Friday about Hurricane Lee that was heading this way. Maine got some damage. We didn't. So that wasn't true at all. The New York Times made it sound like in their headlines, and that's when I promptly unsubscribed to the paper that I got online. So that's going on, but I do feel like, people unsubscribing, but mostly people speaking out in huge numbers, like, we know you're lying, so cut it out. It's insulting, it's dangerous, and it underestimates our intelligence. So remember, knowledge is power, so we know what the truth is. If you're perceptive, if you're psychic, you really, really can sense when you're being lied to. And boy, is it infuriating. It is the worst. And remember, I've told you before that in certain religions, Satan is called the father of lies. So we are in the throes of evil, just being deceived by evil. Because what the evil wants to do is doesn't want us to be independent thinkers and doesn't want us to live as independent, autonomous human beings, which is autonomy was the topic today. It's Church of Spirituality. So I'm going to pull 3 more cards to see if they might be changing directions. I think I only showed you 2 of those cards. Yeah, I don't really feel like it's going to work for them. I feel like they'll keep on pounding away at the negative, at the lies and everything, but it's like diminishing returns. So that's good, because that indicates that there are enough Americans paying attention. Doesn't have to be all of them, but it has to be, a critical mass of enough people paying attention. And the 5 of Pentacles this is not the way to go for the mainstream media. It's not going to lead to increased numbers of viewers like they think it will, because what they're really banking on literally is that Trump will be a huge draw. It just occurred to me that if I sit here long enough, you'll be able to see the most incredible sunset you've ever seen. Anyway, and this is the King of Wands. They're trying to be all these media outlets like CNN and NBC. Is there an ABC anymore? I don't know, but Kristen Welker took over on Meet the Press for Chuck Todd, and that was her first interview, and the little snippet that I saw of it was really bad. Anyway, it looks like diminishing returns. The mainstream media turning in this extremist fascist direction is not going to prosper them. This is not the card of prosperity. This is the card of frozen assets. Frozen, like no growth. And the King of Wands, well, this is really just indicating that they were banking on Trump being like this great communicator. And if you ask me, for what I've seen of Trump lately, he looks really bloated. His hair looks even worse, if you can imagine that. And he's starting to say crazy things. Dementia is setting in, and he was saying something about Joe Biden started World War II, and then he was saying something, Trump was saying this, and Trump was saying that he mistakenly said that that Trump himself ran against Obama. Which is kind of a little bit of a Freudian slip, really, when you think about it, because it was as if he was running against Obama, but that's not what he meant. I know, it's crazy. So, you can't make this stuff up, I'm telling you. I didn't check to see what time the sun is going to set, but it does go fast, so I might make this video a little bit longer so you can watch it. Okay. Meanwhile, Ken Paxton was acquitted. I know, it's a lot. I'm grateful I can have this beautiful high vibration spot to hang out on. By the way, that new moon in Virgo, really strong energy, really an upgrade. If you can get out in nature, if you can just really tap in, especially if you're having beautiful weather like this. This is like otherworldly, beautiful, clear weather. It's almost like the hurricane winds came in and swept away the energy that needed to be swept away, like a big cosmic vacuum cleaner. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to look at is Ken Paxton, because I had said that I did not see him off the hook. Excuse me, I just have to adjust some things here because I don't want this to fall over. And I have to adjust my towel because this rock isn't the most comfortable place to sit. So I think that as far as Ken Paxton goes, I think that even though these people in their evil heinousness, they think that they're all that and you know, and a bag of chips or whatever you want to say. Even though they think that, it's a desperate life. It doesn't matter how much money they have and how much power they purportedly have. It's a desperate life. It's having to keep up with the lies and having to keep up with, you know, people having evidence against you and saying, no, you're, you know, just kind of fighting back. And it's constant back and forth and constant defending yourself against your own crimes that you committed, you know, defending yourself about things that you've done that everybody knows that you've done, and then to just add insult to your own injury, these guys, then they have to like start slinging slime at the people that are calling them out for harming the American people. They have to sling slime, and then they have to dig up, you know, dirt, mostly made up lies. And so if you think Ken Paxton is having a good time, don't pay attention to that big criminal smile on his face, because he does have it coming to him. And I do tend to read the energy of a situation, and the energy of that trial was that he was guilty. So we're going to pull 3 cards about him. And I don't really get that it's over yet either. But what's happening is, in addition to the media shifting to right-wing fascist extremism, to whatever degree they are, that is what it is. In addition to that, we also have what's going on is the Republican Party is splitting. And the way that it's splitting is in the direction of, if you're not fascist, we hate you. We make sure that you don't, that you're primaried, and you know, like, we make sure that you can't regain your seat and get reelected. So there's another thing that's going on. So there are 2 things that are going on in support of a fascist takeover of the United States. And we just have to pay attention. And that's why we have to start calling out these mainstream news media channels that are going the way of Russia. Remember, Liz Cheney said it this week, and I'll continue to remind you of it. It's Putin's Republican Party. That's where we are right now. And as long as we see it, and as long as we're aware of it, we can stop it. It's if we're not paying attention to it that they can take over, like they've taken over voting rights, and they took over democracy in so many ways, because civics was out of the classroom, and we as a collective were made to believe that it didn't matter if we weren't paying attention. There's an American flag flowing in the breeze in the background. So people are pretty genuinely patriotic in Massachusetts. That's where it all began. It's not a MAGA flag, it's an American flag flying over the Atlantic Ocean and the breeze. So I'm going to pull 3 cards about Ken Paxton. Glad I came out here. It was kind of on a whim. Thought maybe I'll just take a drive and go to a new spot. A new old spot. This is where the parties used to happen. I have a friend who's on the other side now, my singer-songwriter friend, Brenton Roberts, and he would say, if you remember the 60s, you weren't there, or just that era when all the rock stars were, drinking and drugging. Okay, Ken Paxton. The fate of Ken Paxton. Oh, I'm getting that Emperor again. That's so, the King of Wands, who looks a little bit like the Emperor. Ken Paxton. I'm picking up that he and his wife, I don't know much about his wife, but I know that Ken Paxton had a mistress. It actually feels like they're in the crime bed together. I don't know what that means. I'm just noticing I have a couple of green orbs around me. That might be the sun. Ken Paxton. Whenever I read on the politics of the state politics of Texas, it's like the depth of an oil well deep of corruption, of NRA money. Speaking of NRA money, for entertainment purposes only, I feel like Ron DeFascist is tied in with NRA money from Russia that gets funneled in from Russia. This is my psychic impression. And that Christine, her last name starts with a P. One of Ron DeFascist's advisors is Russian. And also, there's another connection to connection to Tuberville and Ron DeFascist that's connected to the Kremlin, directly or indirectly. And as far as I'm just badly making the point. I'm just kind of reading it. That what's going on with Ken Paxton is tied in with, it's all tied in, it's all linked. What's going on with Paxton is tied in to the NRA, weaponry, munitions, domestic terrorism, January 6th. There's a thread running through it. And I know that that's what Jack Smith does, is he prosecutes those kinds of crimes. So send Jack Smith a lot of light energy. Behind me, there's this beautiful light. Send that kind of energy to the DOJ, to Jack Smith. Send that kind of energy there. It's really important. I'm telling you guys, I asked you to send that hurricane out to sea, and we did. So let's stay on it. As far as Paxton, it feels like he's really locked in with the criminality. And even though the crimes are there, this is a Page of Pentacles, clearly the crimes are there. He's protected by big money. And it's oil money too. and he's tied, like, I just feel like he's locked into Greg Abbott. I don't even know if they are, friends with each other, or if Abbott is in support. I don't even know. I look at Texas politics very, very briefly, and when I do, I just go, yikes. Yikes. No wonder Beto won energetically. I felt the energy for Beto way, like 75% versus 25%, versus Greg Abbott. But in that kind of environment, it's almost like, Texas and Florida are fascism. We'll come through it. We'll get through it. So let's ask this. Will Paxton be held accountable eventually? Because, these are crimes. The receipts are there. The crimes are there. There's no denying any of it. It's all there. The receipts are there. Will Ken Paxton be held accountable eventually? Will he be held accountable for his crimes eventually? It does look like he will be. It does look like he will be. Eventually. I'm getting like 5 years. Sorry, we have to wait that long. Maybe not that long. Would it be in less than 5 years that Ken Paxton is held accountable? Will it be less than 5 years? No. So he will be held accountable eventually, but we will have to just, put up with him in the meantime. Let's look at Hunter Biden. I did pick up the number 3 in terms of how long we'd have to hear about all this with the hearings, all the wasted money that the House Republicans are about to waste more and more and more. And I feel like about 3 months of that, and then it will be over and Hunter will walk. So 3 cards about that. The death card says this is it's an open shut case. It should have been anyway, and actually was. The High Priestess indicates the House Republicans are holding on to secrets, and they're getting defensive. Even though they're trying to prosecute Hunter Biden, they're getting defensive. The House Republicans are getting defensive. I didn't see the Sunday shows today. I don't even know which ones I would watch at this point. Maybe MSNBC. But the death card indicates this is not going to go very far with Hunter. It looks like it's just going to end, because what they're really trying to do is accuse people of things that they never did. Once again, that's straight out of the Kremlin playbook. You don't have to have committed a crime to be thrown in jail in Russia, or in North Korea, or in China, or in so many other countries. And that's the kind of energy that's trying to take over the United States. But this is going to put the Republicans on the defensive, this Hunter Biden situation. And the Republicans are hiding their source, which is Donald Trump. And I can't really say that they think that we don't know what's going on, put it that way. Let's ask this. Is Trump on the phone with Vladimir Putin, whoever Vladimir Putin is? Is Trump on the phone with the Kremlin these days? Is Trump on the phone with the Kremlin these days? It's hard to see this, huh? Is Trump on the phone with the Kremlin these days? Doesn't look like it. No, I think, is Trump on the phone with the Saudis in regards to taking on American democracy? Is Trump on the phone with the Saudis in regards to taking on American democracy? Yes. Yes, it's more the Saudis now. Is it through the live tournaments? Is it through the live tournaments? It's giving me, doesn't usually just do that. Yeah. We'll see where that leads. I think we're going to find out more about where that leads in the future. Does Trump feel like his connection with the Saudis is his actual ace in his pocket? Does he feel like it is? No. I do feel meetings, though. I do feel meetings and discussions, and I do feel like part of the reason that there's not some kind of an arrangement, like an ace in his pocket on Trump's part, an ace in the pocket meaning, he'll agree to give the Saudis secrets in exchange for continuing to meddle in America, like Trump is doing. I don't feel like, I feel like it's more monetary. Yeah, it's more monetary. For Trump, money is security. That's the way he's programmed. He's never been programmed to anything but money is security. And I mean lots and lots of money, but the irony is Trump is broke. We know that. All right, couple more questions. And then I think what I'll do, because I want to keep the video fairly short, I think what I'll do is I'll do a separate video of the sunset from here. So we'll just ask one more question. We're going to ask about the Democrats and these hearings and how that's all going to turn out. And then stay tuned, because I will video the sunset. Okay, so I'm asking about how the Democrats will do with the Republicans. The Republicans are just going to keep pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding away at the Democrats. It's better if we know, right? We're prepared. It's going to be an exercise in futility for all involved during these sham hearings for, the impeachment inquiry and the Hunter Biden. It's just going to be a mess. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be a sling fest with, the Democrats are going to be speaking truth. The Republicans, it's going to be one lie after another, and they're going to get real creative. Just get ready. But I also have the karma card. We have to kind of wait. Oh, I love the way the light is coming off the karma card. Look. It's like the karma card has an eclipse on it, and then I'm just lining it up with the sun. And sorry, I'm having fun. We just have to know that the karma card is here. And so the Republicans, and karma is going to bite them in the butt. So don't worry, but just be prepared mentally. This is a time that we have to exercise our muscles. We have to be resilient spiritually. So if you just stay with me, share my videos, hit the thumbs up, let's get us to be more together. I've started to call my channel PNN Psychic News Network, News from a Psychic's Perspective, a pro-democracy channel, and please help spread the word. And I'm going to upload this video, and I'm going to also make a video of the sunset, so that will be right after this. So thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful, beautiful high vibration day right after that new moon in Virgo. And next week is the fall equinox. It's going to be some beautiful days then, so I'll do more videos from outside. And love you all. Love yourself. Be good to yourself. Eat well, exercise, get plenty of rest. Don't let this drag you down. Get with other people and laugh and just have a good time. And we'll be back with you real soon. All right. Stay tuned for that sunset video. Namaste.